What else about Allie? What else did our book tell us about Allie, Ashton?
Having any disruptions, because when you only get the 20 minutes to meet, it needs to be very focused and, without, what do I need to be doing? What should I be doing now? What do I do? What, on the listen to reading, in the past when I had the tape recorders, it became a management issue because I did not have books that had tapes that went with each book. So I had to use our Basil series, and our Basil series had the book on tape. So what it would look like when we were using that would be 6 or 7 students sitting around this listening center with the same book, the same story. They would have to spend the first few minutes trying to rewind or forward and hit play because the previous group had been listening to a story to try to find where the beginning of the story is. And then with them being in that close of proximity to, because of the range of the headphone cords, it was really been a management issue, and I would often have to redirect them or to get them back on task, or they might not finish the story, and then it was just a real management issue. So one night when I was reading to my daughter Haley, we were reading on the iPad. I thought this would be so neat if the students during the listen to reading could be listening to a story, a just right story on their level, find it. They could easily go, and they know what's the practice that they have in the library. So that is when our team met, and we also were having some of the same issues. Some of the, like Miss Hyde did not have a reading center at all. She didn't have a listening center. So she was, needing to find a tape player, find the books.
And the reason is because
she's a new teacher, not new, but back to third grade this year, right? With the tape players being antiquated, trying to find one, like you went searching for things, trying to find one that still worked, right? And then finding those headphones that have the different.
Oh, yeah, they're big plugs.
Right. So it was difficult to try to find all of that. So we as a team thought, wow, it'd be neat if we could find some way to get Nooks, because we know that in the library, Mrs. Williams introduces the students to the Nooks and they use the Nooks. So if they had that opportunity in the classroom, that would be really meaningful. It kind of looks like a one-room schoolhouse in here when, you're introducing 4 different sets of spelling words and their patterns, because I might be introducing like long A and short A words. Then my second group might be working on words that begin with WH and CH. Then my third group, then my last group's working with something with this A. So you feel like a one-room schoolhouse teacher, really, like making sure that you're meeting all of their needs. Okay. There we go. And then she kind of had them categorized. Mrs. Williams does. So then they can pick from these books. It's just a drastic decrease that we're seeing in, the vocabulary that the students are coming to school with. And I really feel like that's directly linked to the lack of what I said at the PTSG meeting, like lap time, crawling up. And I feel like the best readers are made on Mommy and Daddy's laps, or Grandma and Grandpa's laps, or whoever's lap they can crawl on, and you can read to them. So this is an opportunity to get that, because for those auditory learners, to hear those stories and, to benefit them through that. It's just a really great opportunity. Yeah. All right, now I want you're still at the listening center, so I want you to listen to Pepita Speaks Twice using the tape player.
So, I had a tape player last year, so each of us grab a headphone. Okay. How many connections do you need? At least one. Okay. We're sticking to one. Yeah. Okay. Now, so mine says 1, so mine is 8 here. This shows up for 4. So,
She said that she had done this last year.
We usually do have one kind of little.
how do we work this?
Okay, push play. Okay. You might have to rewind to find the start of the story. find it, Corey.
And the big for things
And you see the tangled up mess with the cords and things. But in their defense, like if this was our only management, like, then we would have practiced. They would be more proficient at it, but it's still very difficult.
Well, I mean, here we are. I've had this going for a minute and a half, and I mean, you guys do your stuff in like 20 minutes.
20
Actually.
minutes, right? So
So if you're taking,
there's still the delay of the rewinding, trying to find the start of the story, because as I said, there would have been a group here before,
I hit play, but it's just like
so you might need to hit rewind.
Minnie started to set the table. Minnie, what did Mr. Hughes want?
So then rewind for a little bit and then hit play. Try to find the beginning of the story. Pepita talks twice. Because our previous group would have been here and listened to it, and they would not have. They might have been halfway through the story. They might have finished the story and went on to the next one. You know what I mean? Like, this was the issue.
yeah, I mean, we're
Now, of
almost.
course, we could have had, like, you know, somebody at the meeting brought up, well, why don't we get books on CD? And we could do that, but there's a lot of cost involved in that. I would have needed a CD player for each child. Then I would have had to get the CD, and Scholastic does sell them, you know, the CD for Pepita Speaks Twice, and then the book.
Chapter 10. A feathery hug. Duncan skipped off. Suddenly I heard a voice.
In here.
You solved my case number 22. A bunch of feathers hugged me. It was Olivia, in person.
There we go. You should be able to hear in your earphones now. Oops.
I can't hear it on the headphones. Just listen
You
to
might
it.
turn me up.
It's not Peter talks twice.
Okay, then you need to hit rewind and find Pepita
It's
Speaks Twice.
Okay, so
the
let's stop there.
the policeman with the Victoria.
Oh, so where is that in our story? Because now you're going to have to figure out if you need to hit rewind or if you need to hit forward.
Go forward. So
Party will be great.
So you would hit fast forward.
Okay, did that happen?
yeah.
You need to hit stop before you hit fast forward because you still have play now.
So you tell me in under your